Ooh, welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. I hate to do this, but I have to do this. Skap Attack is getting on my nerves. And this guy is losing a lot of credibility. A lot. I just can't take it, folks. And let me say this first. I heard this guy on Angry Old Hoops Fan. They were on there live. I think, who else was on there? Sports and Fitness Rants. And man, I had to turn it off, man. I think I watched maybe 25 minutes of it, and then I turned it off because I didn't even want to watch the rest of the show anymore with him on the show. He got to be that annoying to where I couldn't even watch the whole show. And I like to watch, the whole live and stuff like that when, Angry Old Hoops or Sports and Fitness Rants is on there. But I'm going to tell you guys. Before I tell you guys what annoyed me the most about this guy, let me tell you this first. This guy, Scap, right? It's something about him that he can't wait his turn to speak, right? He'll get his chance to speak, and then there'll be somebody else's chance to speak, and then he'll jump right in to what they're saying. And he said, one quick minute before you, and then I'm going to give it back to you. But the guy ran on for 2 to 3 minutes. And then he's like, oh, okay, now it's to you. And he does that with like so many people every time he's on a panel. And it's just like, what? What are you doing, dude? Just sit there and wait for your turn. Why do you have to sit there and rebuttal every time somebody speaks and they're not even finished half the damn time? That gets to be annoying right there because the guy is like so into himself. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if he'd be on something before he gets on those panels or what, but to me, I think he's like into himself too much, right? Like he knows every damn thing in the world. So that's one of the things that annoy me. And as much as people criticize Sports and Fitness Rants for so-called screaming, the guy is sitting there like patiently waiting when he's on a panel. A lot of times he don't jump into what somebody says. He'll wait his turn. Sometimes they'll skip him. When he's on Michael Jordan Fans Are the Best, they'll skip him sometimes and he won't even get mad. He's always sitting there patiently waiting. Everybody thinks he's screaming. So I don't really know the guy, Sports and Fitness Rants. He says he's Italian and black. And I know a lot of Italian people from New York. They scream. They scream when they talk. That's how Italian people, that's how they talk. They talk really loud. Well, it's not allowed because, I know a lot of people, especially melanated people, black people, Spanish people, people of color, in their culture, they talk loud when they talk, right? But in the Italian culture, they scream at you. It's funny. Whenever they, I ain't gonna say all Italians, but for the majority of that I met who were like Italian, they scream when they talk. They yell when they talk. It's funny. And they got like a lot of emotion, especially the ones from New York and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly where his Sports and Fitness Rants gets that from his Italian side of the family, but I just know so many Italian people that do just like Sports and Fitness Rants does. They basically scream at you when they're talking, and it's just they just talk with a lot of emotion. Anyways, so that don't bother me when I hear him talk. I listen to the facts. I listen to what he says and stuff like that, and that's why he's become my top 3 YouTuber to listen to as far as sports. Now, I might disagree on some other stuff that he says. And, I listen to some YouTubers. I might disagree on, something they say about life and stuff like that. But as far as sports, and other stuff, I agree with them on. But Skap Attack, man, this guy, let me tell you something. So he's critical of Curry in Durant for starting a super team to go against LeBron James. This is what he said. And he said it over and over again, which is fine. But he's more critical of Curry not playing LeBron James head-to-head instead of getting a super team. So he's pretty much condemning, he's been doing this for a while, condemning Curry for not being able to go against LeBron's super team head-to-head without getting Kevin Durant. And he feels that he would have more respect for Curry if he would have just not built that super team and beat him head to head, and that's where he would have got his respect. And then he goes on later to talk ish about Curry, saying he barely beat LeBron James in 2015 in the finals. And I forget what he said about the Curry's 22 ring or something like that, some nonsense. So he said he's lucky to have those two or something without a super team. He's like, what? So you're saying you're pissing in his face for beating LeBron James because he said, oh, he was down 2-1, and then, Kyrie and Love got hurt. So he pretty much said, you're lucky those guys didn't get hurt, or you would not have had that ring. So you're pissing in his face for winning the ring in 2015, but you just said you would respect him more if he didn't build a super team. And that he should have played his team without Kevin Durant against LeBron James with no super team. That's what a real man would have did. Blah, 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 blah. You guys got to go look at this, man. Go back, and it's right there at the beginning of Angry Old Hoops Fans video. This guy is psychotic. This guy is psychotic. And I think what it is, why he hates Curry so much, is because a lot of Curry fans, I think they've been pissing on Kobe or something like that. It has to be that. It could be nothing else, folks, because I just don't get it. But what I'm going to say is, look, I don't blame Curry or Durant for building a super team. I just don't. I've said this before. I've rebutted Stephen A. Smith, and people saying that's the weakest move. And what Curry did was weak too, and that he had just won back-to-back MVPs. Let me tell you something. Yeah, Curry did beat him in 2015, and we all know why, right? Because Kevin Love and Kyrie got hurt. The next year, they did have him down 2-1, or no, 3-1, and they came back and won. So I think Curry said, there's no way we're going to beat him the next year. So I'm going to build a super team, and I'm sure Kevin Durant was in his ear too. So what I'm trying to say, folks, is how can we condemn Curry or Durant for something that LeBron James had already built two super teams 2 times before Curry and Durant did it 1 time. And remember, LeBron James, face of the league, already been in the league since 2003, and this is what this guy is doing in his prime. These guys were just getting into their prime. And when we go back and look at it, we know that Kevin Durant, he lost to LeBron James super team in 2012. Did Kevin Durant build a super team in 2012? No! Those guys came through the draft. So the thinking is, by 2016 offseason, LeBron James had already built 2 super teams. Playing with other teams' #1 franchise players, was never a leader of none of those teams, right? That's why I tell you, folks, if you're playing with other teams' #1 franchise players, especially if you leave your home, you're not a leader of that team. So when you win a championship, what happens? You didn't lead any of those guys to a championship, right? Everything's equal after that. You're playing with other #1s. So everybody led each other to a championship, right? That's a super team. So when we talk about Ray Allen, we talk about Kevin Garnett, we talk about Paul Pierce. Who led that team to a championship? Don't tell me about who got the damn finals MVP. That ain't leading a team to a championship, right? When you're playing with and you're all other teams' #1 franchise players. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, all other teams' #1 franchise players. So it don't make it no different, folks, when LeBron James plays with other teams' #1 franchise players. And he leaves his home looking for help. So it's no difference. We can't cut this guy any kind of slack. So he never won a championship as a leader. It has never, ever happened. So what I'm trying to say with this Skap Attack thing is he's full of bull-ish, right? That's what we can say. Skap Attack is full of ish. You can't condemn Kevin Durant and Curry for starting this super team. What do you think these guys were supposed to keep going against LeBron James' super team? They didn't have the same firepower that the Mavs had. They didn't have the same firepower that the Spurs had. They didn't have that same firepower. They just didn't. These guys were built different back in the day. Those teams were different. I'm just trying to tell you guys, those teams were different. Whether you like it or not, when we look at that Spurs team, it was built different than that Golden State team. Don't tell me about Golden State won all them games and stuff like that, coming through the West and doing all this stuff. It ain't the same, folks. That West that was a different West. That wasn't Nash at his peak, Amari Stoudemire, Jason Kidd, Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant. They weren't going against the same guys. That Golden State team. That Golden State team was built different, right? So what I'm trying to say, it was a good team. But you just, to me, when we saw Dirk Nowitzki and we saw, Tim Duncan, I think they had better teams, like more defensively and more fundamentally sound than that Golden State team that beat LeBron James' team in 2015. So I don't think we could really expect them to keep beating them, especially with a healthy Kyrie and Kevin Love. So what I'm trying to say is we can't hold them to that type of standard. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to be a butthole or nothing like that, but let's be real. I mean, LeBron James started up 2 super teams before Kevin Durant did and Curry, 2 super teams. And Skap wants to act like, everybody in the league is supposed to just sit there and play LeBron James super teams, whether they win or they lose. That's the most ridiculous thing you ever heard of. The most ridiculous thing you ever heard of. That's why I say this NBA, something else is going on, folks. Something, for when LeBron James started Super Team 1 and then he did 2, there was really no kickback from the owners, from the players, from the coaches of the league. And actually, it was celebrated. It was basically celebrated by the media that LeBron James was doing these things. Going back home, remember he had the big celebration going back home to Cleveland. And, we all know about the celebration going to Miami, not 1, not 2. So all this stuff, it was celebrated in the media, and the NBA really didn't frown upon it. Kobe tried to get one damn good player the second time, and that was Chris Paul. And they shunned that. They said, oh, no, you can't have that because we saw what you did with another one great player. You went back-to-back with Paul Gasol. So, to me, at the end of the day, folks, what I'm trying to say about this whole thing is it's good that Curry and Durant started a super team. Why? Because it showed, hey, if you want to do it, we're going to do it too. It wasn't the right thing to do, right? The first time he did it, he got his ass kicked, right? By these, some of these guys were 90s players, so they still had a 90s mentality. The guys that beat them, the guys that couldn't beat them, the OKCs, they were young. They didn't have a 90s mentality. And like I said, they came out the draft or whatever like that. But no, I'm glad that Kevin Durant and Curry started the super teams and kicked LeBron James' butt. Because how long was he going to do this, folks? So he was supposed to just be winning all these championships while everybody else had to play fair. So Michael Jordan is starting all these super teams after he couldn't beat the Pistons in 91. Said, I got to get away from Pippen. I got to get away from Pippen, right? Couldn't beat the Pistons. So I'm going to join force. I'm going to New York, and I'm going to play with Ewing, and I'll bring Barkley with me. And nobody says nothing about that in the entire NBA in the 90s, right? And Michael Jordan's that super team has to play the entire East. They just took all the power out of the damn East, and then they got to play the West. The problem is Michael Jordan would never lost. Michael Jordan probably would have went 6-0 with that damn team. So Skap is a fool, man. This guy makes great videos, but when he comes up on a panel, he acts like a jackass. I can tell you that, man. And I'm not trying to be like I know everything, but the guy don't shut up. I don't like to listen to him on the panel because he's always trying to steal somebody else's shine. I don't like him. Like, you talk and shut up. It ain't your turn. Don't jump into somebody else's time. Oh, let me just say this and I'll give it back to you. For what? You said what you had to say. So don't bam on Curry, don't bam on Durant because they tried to do it the right way. And once they couldn't do it the right way, they had no other choice but to do it the wrong way. LeBron James did it the wrong way the first time. And it said, did he say, oh man, the moral of the story is I shouldn't be starting super teams. It didn't work out. I went 2-2. Nope. He said the only way I have a chance to win again and moving forward is build another super team because he saw he only got 2 out of that. So what was he going to do moving forward? Well, he would have to build another super team or he wouldn't even win. So you blame the whole super team on LeBron James. Don't blame that on Curry. He didn't mess up. Curry and Durant didn't mess up nothing. They just went with what the NBA approved. And they approved LeBron James building 2 super teams before they built one damn super team. They didn't change nothing in the NBA. They didn't change nothing. They didn't change nothing. And like we saw, they got lucky. They even won in 2015. playing LeBron James super team. 3 number ones? 3 number ones. In Miami and in Cleveland. 3 number ones. And everybody's supposed to just beat them fair. I'm just saying, I like Skap videos, but I don't like him on them live panels, man. I don't like his Joker take. We already went over that. I did a whole video of this guy crying about Joker. I need all this help. And all at the beginning of the year, and when the smoke cleared, what does he have, folks? I think he's like number 3 or 4. They were like all the way down at like 6 and 7 while he was crying, man, Joker don't have no help. Joker don't have no help. Joker this, Joker that, Joker this, Joker that, Joker this. Just crying and whining at the beginning of the season. And now he's like 3 or 4 seed. How the hell did he get to 3 and 4 seed with no help now? Huh? Can somebody tell me? It's ridiculous, man. Like I said, this guy, if he wanted more help and wanted another great player, he would have said something. He don't want to play with the rest of these guys. The guys he played with, or he plays with now, he sees them as family. Those are the guys he want to play with. You don't want to play with none of these other guys that have these egos and, mental problems and, all this stuff. And he wants to shine. He don't want to take his stats away. Like I said, if he had a problem with these guys on that team, he would have told the owners, don't let Gordon sign that contract. Don't let Porter sign that. Who was it? Gordon? No, he would have said, don't let Porter Jr. sign that contract. Don't let Murray sign that contract, or I'm gone when my contract is up. Did he say that? No, he didn't say that, because he don't have no beef playing with them dudes. And he's all the way up to the number 3, 4 seed in that weak ass West. That'll show you how weak that is. Now, what did I did? I did say, because early in the season, I said, what did I say? I said, if SGA gets that number 1 seed, and he leads his team to the number 1 seed overall, with that little bit of help, trust me, he ain't got that much help. He ain't got that much help. What Hall of Fame help does he got? Come on, man. Pound for pound, those guys on Denver are better than OKC. What I will tell you is, like I said, if SGA led that team to the number 1 seed, with him playing offense, defense, and this team playing great basketball for him, he's got my MVP. Especially if Denver doesn't even crack the top 5. Now that they're like 3 or 4, I'm gonna tell you what, and I told you the other day, if they finish top 3 and Joker's still putting up the same stats, I got to get an MVP to Joker. I just do. I gotta give it to Joker. I mean, you can't deny a guy that's in the top 3, especially he gets to the number 2 seed, the MVP, and he's putting up those kind of stats. Are you crazy? And this is the stat world we live in, and you can't deny him from putting up these crazy stats, because that's all LeBron James did all of his career. So, I just get sick of this guy crying, for Joker, crying about different things. Like, come on, man. Like I said, it's great they built that super team. I don't hold that against Durant. That wasn't, when they say this was the weakest move, after what? If he just did this out of nowhere and LeBron James had already built 2 super teams, okay, that is the weakest move. But LeBron, I don't care that the Golden State Warriors just beat him. I don't care about that. I don't care. And all bets are off the table when this guy just did what? He just built 2 damn super teams. And the media didn't give him no backlash. So all bets is off. It don't matter what you do after that, or anybody else does after that. Cut it out. Cut it out. He didn't do that. What did he do? If this was his second time on a team with 3 number 1s, other teams' number 1 franchise players, now Golden State has 2 number 1 franchise players of other teams. Just 2, folks. Just 2. Clay ain't no damn Hall of Famer if he don't play with Curry. Draymond Green damn sure ain't no Hall of Famer if he don't play with Curry. So what are we talking about? That team only won 2 in a row because of LeBron James. Is sorry as hell. And in the second one, we all know Kyrie left. Kyrie didn't want no more of this. He didn't want to carry LeBron no more. So he was out. And it showed us how weak the East was that he got back to the championship. That's how weak it was. So I'm not beating up on Curry. No damn way am I beating it. Or Durant. I think their games are especially Kevin Durant, his game is whack. He's not a good rebounder. He's not a good defender. His game is whack. He's just a shooter. Kevin Durant ain't no leader. But it ain't no leaders in this era. For them to build super teams, it ain't no leader. Curry really ain't no leader. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all get mad, y'all Scap fans or whatever like that. I don't care, man. But he can't have it both ways. Oh yeah, it was weak for Curry to build a super team. But then again, he's saying Curry has to play LeBron's super teams. How stupid does that sound? To make him the man, he has to play LeBron's super teams and beat him. Get the hell out of here. That sounds so stupid.